Hello everybody, Whiskey again, bringing you part 2 of the Arazoa has a rulebook video. I wanted to do a part 2 here because in the last video I had a few comments on my YouTube channel. Also some people DM'd me, and also I had some conversations with people in voice chat, and there was some confusion. I was talking about how I was following my mandatory behaviors on my Rex, when I was talking about how it's mandatory for me as a Rex player to territory challenge DASPs. And in that previous video there was 2 clips of 2 different sets of DASP players. Each of them had 2 DASPs in their party, and both of them thought that I was not allowed to territory challenge them for some reason. I still don't know what they're referencing or where they got that from, but the comments that I received and the confusion that people had with my video was that I was mentioning mandatory behavior, and I'm not talking about, what I wanted to clarify was, I'm not talking about the mandatory behavior in the Rex profile, but what I'm talking about is in the rules, there's a section called territory rules, and in that territory rules section there is if you scroll down, there's a territory tier specific rules section. And it talks about all the different types of carnivores. There's apex, sub-apex, mid-tier, and so on. And a Rex is an apex carnivore. And in territory tier specific rule number 2, it says apex carnivores are required to territory challenge apexes, sub-apexes, and follow the mandatory behavior for mid-tiers and below. That's what I'm referring to when I say that I have to territory the DASPs. So it's not just optional, it's actually mandatory. I know everybody reads, or a lot of people seem to go ahead and read the profile of their character, of their dinosaur that they're playing, and that's great. You should definitely do that. But what you guys are also, a lot of you guys that are making these comments and having these questions and are confused, I think what you're not doing, or what you're missing, is that there's also territory rules and there's also territory tier specific rules. So I know there's a lot of rules, guys, and it can be annoying to have to sit there and read all through these rules. They're very involved. I know they're detailed. They're a little more complicated than a lot of the rules on the other servers. But if you want to play in Arazoa, you really should read through them. It behooves you to read through them. It's going to make the gameplay a lot nicer and more fun for you, and also cause you a lot less deaths. So please review those rules. That's the one I was talking about. In this video right here, I'll just mention real quick, these 3 players had already attacked me on some Sucos. They logged off and they came back and attacked me again on these DASPs. Now, in this case right here, I killed that one. That other one bit me in the back, so I turned around and bit it again one more time, and it died. So they both died, and it was an accident, that second death. And so I apologize, and I was sorry at the time. But later on, when I found out that it was the same 3 players that were the Sucos, and one of them was the same player that was saying all that toxic stuff in the video in part 1 of this series, this Rulebook series, and also that's going to be in the clip that follows this one, then at that point I kind of wasn't that sorry that I killed both of them. It was an accident, but it's like they're metagaming against me. They came back to attack me, you know, and then they both died for it. So it's like, this player has done this so many times, they just keep dying over and over and over again while they're breaking the rules and metagaming and doing all this cheating and stuff like that. And I hope they really learn, because they really shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. It's only going to result in bad outcomes. You're going to be making enemies, you're going to get strikes, and eventually possibly get banned from the server. So this is the player I was referencing, and this is the clip that was also in part 1. But that's the same player that I was referencing that was on those DASPs that came in metagaming after they fought me on the Sucos. So it wasn't a coincidence. They were doing this kind of thing for a while. They're not only are they toxic, but they're targeting and metagaming, and it's just silly, because look at what it's resulted in. They've probably gotten strikes. They've broken many rules. They've died on I've killed them on at least 4 different dinosaurs when they were metagaming against me and coming back to the same area to fight me again on different things. And then I know, just based on all the chatting that they do in XChat, that they've also lost many other dinosaurs too from doing this kind of stuff. and they always want to say that it's a rule break, and it really just is a result of them not understanding the rules in the first place. So they could be spending a lot of time reviewing the rules and understanding them, and it would save them a lot of grief and a lot of deaths and, you know, a lot of time, really. So this brings me to the next reason I made this video, is because a couple of you took exception to the fact that I bit after a body went down, and I said that they kept attacking even after their partner died. And they did, and you mentioned that I also did. I bit, and that is true. I did bite, but Territory Rule 2C says that if you ignore a challenger, you are allowed to be attacked and killed. And that's technically what I was following. Now, so really, I could have killed them both, but I didn't. So even though I got one extra bite off at the end, it was truly an accident, because if you look here, it's dark out. The DAS are melanistic. I've got all these trees and stuff in the way of the camera. And when the one dies, the sound that it makes is very similar to the sound of a DAS charge bite as well. So in the heat of that moment, as frustrated as I was with them being so toxic and all that, yeah, I accidentally got one extra bite in. But really, they ended up tail whacking me anyway. And so the whole thing was kind of a bad situation. But it was all brought about by them, and all of their actions that they were doing, and all the toxicity that they were displaying. And it was, again, in addition to the fact that they haven't even read the rules or tried to. And like I said, you know, there's a lot of new players that don't understand the rules. I know there's a lot of rules, and that's fine, but it's totally different to not know the rules and then be so toxic and be so rude and tell other people and argue with other people in local chat about the rules. That just makes it like 10 times worse, and it's resulting in nothing but negative and bad things for those players. So I just wanted to do these videos for other new players that might be able to learn from this. They might be able to see this and see this behavior and how it's resulting in really negative consequences. It's not helping anybody, and maybe you'll avoid doing it as well, because I do know this type of stuff is popular in other servers, but it really has no place in Arazoa. So hopefully that helps, guys. Thanks for watching again, and I hope to see you out there in Gondola. Goodbye.